Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Miss Delululand. Am I the a-hole for refusing to spend another dime on stepkids and step-grandkids? I, 38 female, and my husband, 50 male, have been married for 10 years and have a 1-year-old daughter together. He has a son, 30 male, and a daughter, 28 female, from a previous marriage. Since my husband and I have been together, I have always bought his children birthday presents, Christmas presents, and gifts and cards every holiday. They have always made snide comments about me being too festive, but my love language is gift giving. Well, they both have children now. His son has 3 children under the age of 5, and his daughter has twin 2-year-old daughters. This past Christmas, his daughter and her husband hosted our family Christmas party. During the gift exchange, each household exchanged the gift they bought for the other households. For context, his children have never bought Christmas presents for me, which I am fine with. I've always been the one to purchase the gifts for my stepchildren and my step-grandchildren. My husband gives the adult kids gift cards. So, while the gifts were being passed out, it quickly became apparent that this year they not only didn't buy anything for me, but not for his 1-year-old daughter, their half-sister. So, everyone at the party had gifts to open. My husband, my stepson and his wife, their 3 sons, my stepdaughter, her husband, and twin daughters. Had all bought for each other and I had bought for all of them. And not one person bought anything for their baby sister. So, I gathered my things and my daughter and we left. Afterwards, I told my husband that I had never been made to feel like a part of the family, and that's one thing, but for them to exclude their own half-sister, who is a part of their blood, is a completely different thing. I told him I will never spend a dime on his family because they are not mine. Also, they decided to do a family photo shoot and didn't include my daughter. Am I the a-hole? Opie, you're not the a-hole. As you said, this isn't about gifts. This isn't about you. This is about your daughter. Your stepkids intentionally excluded their baby sister from Christmas and even a family photo shoot. That's cruel and there's no way to justify it. This wasn't thoughtlessness, it was deliberate and it just says that they don't see her as family. Also, your husband should be furious. Your daughter deserves better. So no, not the a-hole. They made it clear she's not their family so they don't get the benefit of yours. And your husband needs to wake up if he cares about your marriage. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Alarming Paper 8357 says, no more gifts. You tried, but you're done with them. After 10 years, you'd think they'd get a clue. Just curious, were you the reason your husband broke up with his ex-wife? If so, that may be why they are so hostile. And honestly, I write them both a letter and explain that you have been handling gifts for your husband's family for 10 years. But will no longer be doing so after the way they treated their half-sister during the holidays. Any gift requests, etc. should be directed to your husband. And your husband is an ass for letting them get away with this BS for 10 years. Let him know that he's on his own from now on for birthdays and holidays. You're done with them. And Opie responds, no, he and their mother divorced when his son 30 male was 7 and daughter 28 female was 5. He and I started dating when they were 16 and 18. Honestly, the one says, your husband never said anything to you, never getting gifts from them? What was your husband's reaction to your child getting no gifts? What was his reaction to what you told him? Your husband is as much a problem, it seems. And Opie responds, no, my husband never commented on them never getting anything from me, but he did say he was upset with how they treated the baby, but not to them. He hasn't brought it up to his adult children. Yes, he is part of the problem. He has never set boundaries with his children nor advocated for equal respect. Not August but Ordinary says, sounds like you have finally worked out that they don't like you. I would have thought them never buying you a single gift over 10 years might have been a clue, particularly when combined with snarky comments. So congrats, you have now worked out where you stand with his family. They won't care that you stop buying them gifts. They never wanted gifts from you. You're not the a-hole for what you are doing, but it seems a bit half-hearted. Most people, when working out that they are not liked, choose to avoid being in the other person's company. Suitable Park 184 says, not the a-hole for stopping gifts. They obviously have some feelings about you, but it's cruel to take it out on an innocent baby. But I also feel there is a lot of context behind this that might explain their indifference to you and your daughter. And Opie responds, yes, I have often did self-evaluation to try to understand what I may have said or done to cause their feeling towards me. I have spoken with my husband at lengths to see if he could shed some light. As far as I can tell, I am the one who stayed. Apparently, other women he dated would try to give ultimatums and I just overlooked their behavior. I myself came from a broken home and know that it can have a negative effect on many children. But I would never be so disrespectful to my step-parents or siblings from second marriages. Additional information from Opie's comments. I've never put a lot of thought into our age difference before, but a lot of you think that it was possibly the reason for their behavior towards me. I can't say for certain, but I don't think I've been pushy about the whole stepmom-stepchildren thing. I do know one occasion when they came over and my best friend who lives out of state was visiting. I did introduce them as this is my stepdaughter and then her name, and this is my stepson and then his name, but I don't refer to myself as their stepmom, and I can't recall a time that they ever introduced me as their stepmom or even their dad's wife. Also, I've never stepped back and thought that maybe they didn't want the gifts from me because they want them from their dad. The too festive comment was because even though they're adults, I still would buy them chocolate hearts for Valentine's Day. I think after reading so many comments, they probably have a huge problem with the age gap between their dad and I. It probably comes across as obnoxious for someone close to their age to treat them like stepchildren. I don't know. I just gave up on trying to be a part of their family. My husband told me he completely understands my decision, and he apologized. He said that he never realized just how bad his children's behavior towards me was until they completely disregarded their sister, our daughter. He said that is what opened his eyes. I told him that my daughter nor I would go to any more of their family events because his children have made it clear we are not family. He didn't say anything to that comment, but at the time, I was very upset. So he probably thinks by the time there is another family gathering, I'll be over it. But I don't want me or my daughter to be a part of anything to do with that part of his family anymore, and that's the part I feel like I may be the a-hole about. Finally, our daughter was a pleasant surprise. I have a condition that makes it very hard to conceive. Given my husband's age and the fact he already had children, he was fine with us never having a child together. So to say the least, she wasn't planned. We didn't tell anyone till the middle of my second trimester due to it being a high-risk pregnancy, PCOS, and my age. We planned an announcement dinner for them and told everyone then, and honestly, throughout my pregnancy, they seemed very excited, and that was the closest to feeling like a part of the family they made me. Well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and it sounds like OP has made a decision regarding this whole thing. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Well, I had a long talk with my husband again after reading all the responses I got. His opinion is that his children have no opinion of our age difference. However, they just don't consider me a part of their family, and he doesn't think that they look at our daughter as their sister. Which I will completely respect because they are entitled to their own opinions as well as their own feelings. With me respecting their feelings comes they're no longer a part of my family. I will act accordingly as just their father's wife. As for my daughter, she is just that, my daughter. The hard boundary is that if they don't consider their half-sister family, then he is not allowed to take my daughter to their homes. I do want to clarify that he is actually great with our daughter. The only time he ever got upset with the way his adult children behave is when it affected our daughter. Almost like he sees no fault with his children unless it's affecting one of his children, if that makes sense. It's hard for me to explain. Anyway, Valentine's Day has come and gone, and I did not get a thing for his children or grandchildren. I splurged on my daughter, and it felt really great. I did remind him a week before Valentine's Day that it was coming up and that his grandkids would probably be expecting something. He neither bought anything for his children, nor his grandchildren, nor our daughter, and he didn't buy anything for me as well. Also, I have not heard from his children since Christmas, though I do know he has been over to visit his daughter and his twin granddaughters a few times since Christmas, which is the norm and I support completely. I just do not accompany him anymore, and I keep my daughter home with me. He made a comment about feeling some type of separation between me and his family, almost as though it was my own decision, and I quickly reminded him that I am just respecting the wishes of his family and that they belong to him and they are nothing to me. In short, this marriage most likely will not last for multiple reasons, not just the issues on this post. He once said he believes he is meant to be a dad, but not a husband. Also, I failed to leave out a key detail. He was married to another woman between his children's mother and mine in his marriage, and according to him, that woman treated his children very, very poorly. I don't know her, so I can't speak about her. I only know what he told me, and that story is completely one-sided. But he does think that maybe the reason why his children treat me the way they do is due to past traumas from his second wife. Also, I realize I had been vague about the dynamics of my husband's relationship with his children and grandchildren. He is very active in their lives. He puts a lot into them, not just gift form. But he pays their car insurance, phone bills, sometimes mortgage payments, etc. Anytime they call, he comes to aid them. Some of the red flags I saw in the beginning was how much he invested in his adult children, which would sometimes be neglectful of our household. For example, when I was pregnant, I was out of work for a good bit of my pregnancy, only getting short-term disability payments, which was a significant amount lower than my average income. The mattress we had was horrible. It hurt to sleep, especially being pregnant. I asked him if we could buy a new mattress, and he said that they were really expensive, but that he would look into it. He never bought that mattress. However, his adult daughter was redecorating her guest room and called him and said that she wanted a new mattress for the guest bed, which is the exact same size as our mattress, a queen. He promptly went out and purchased her a new mattress for her guest bedroom. Anyways, that's the update. Thanks for your support. Well, OP, I think you've made the most logical decision, and I think the next step is to start getting your ducks in a row because I think your marriage has a countdown timer on it. In the meantime, here's wishing you the best, OP, and thanks for sharing. Now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I Wrong, and it's by user MostStable2853. Am I the a-hole for wanting to go on a trip when my boyfriend is uncomfortable with it? I, female 27, have been with my boyfriend Richard, male 39, for 5 years. We live together, we both work, we hardly ever argue, and we have a nice quiet life. When I was in university, I had a group of friends, both male and female, that I used to do a lot of activities with. We would go hiking, snowboarding, and traveling together. There was nothing romantic going on. After graduation, a few of them moved away and I met Richard, so we stopped hanging out. Recently, I got an email from one of my friends from that group who is organizing a reunion. I have been invited to join them on a trip to Whistler. We will be snowboarding, dining, sightseeing, and visiting Vancouver since they are renting a car. It is a 3-day trip. Richard hates these people, so I knew he would say no if I asked him to join. I asked anyway, and as expected, he declined. I told him no worries, since I anticipated his response and I figured I would just go alone. However, he got upset and said, "You are not in college anymore and your partying days are over. You are not going on a F trip with a bunch of drunk frat boys." I showed him the email with the itinerary, but he rolled his eyes and said, "You are all going to end up drunk and effing. Who are you kidding?" Then he asked if the guys were married and whether their wives were coming. I told him I did not really know and that it did not matter. He responded, "You are not going and that's the end of it." I feel so bad. I do not want to email my friends and say I cannot come, but I also do not want to make my boyfriend uncomfortable. Am I an a-hole for really wanting to go on this trip? OP, not the a-hole. Your boyfriend's reaction is controlling, disrespectful, and completely irrational. You're a grown woman, not a rebellious teenager asking for permission. The real issue here isn't the trip, it's your boyfriend's mindset. He doesn't trust you. He immediately jumped to the conclusion that a reunion with friends is actually an F trip. He also seems to think that he has some authority over you. Healthy relationships involve discussions, compromises, not commands. Also, the fact that he hates your friends and you stopped hanging out with the ones that live close by after you met him makes it sound like he isolated you. If I were you, I'd have a lot of thinking to do during the trip. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Nature's Vivid Pictures says, not the a-hole, go. Your boyfriend sounds like a controlling a-hole. The age gap is striking. You were 22 when you started seeing this 34-year-old man. You know he picked you because you were so young and he could control you quite easily. Now you want to be a little independent and he is not happy. Go on the trip and have fun. Jean Lep says, 1. He's your boyfriend, not your master. He does not get to dictate where you go or what you do. 2. Implying that you plan to cheat on him is incredibly disrespectful. Unless you've cheated before, he has no reason to insult your morals like this. I wouldn't stay with someone who spoke to me like this or attempted to control me like this. You aren't wrong, and it's time to plan your exit from this relationship. And Invisiblism says, he had the opportunity to come along. He has alienated you from other friends and family. Is your argument-free life purely because you always obey him? OP's short-term update. I keep getting the same questions over and over in DMs or comments, so instead of repeating myself, here you go. 1. No, you can't come on the trip instead of my boyfriend. Please stop DMing me about it. If you keep asking, I will block you. 2. Why hasn't he proposed yet? Because he will do it when he's ready. Right now, he's focused on buying a bigger place. 3. Do I work or does he pay for my expenses? I work and we split house expenses 50-50. I pay half of his current mortgage. No, he is not my ATM and I am paying for the trip myself. 4. No, he won't be baby trapping me. I have an IUD, so he can't mess with it. We've already discussed accidental pregnancy, and if it happens, I will terminate it. He is not ready for kids, and we will have them when we're both ready. I'm not in a rush either. 5. Why does he hate my group of friends? He thinks they're dumb and annoying. He came out for drinks with us once when we first met and said afterwards that he couldn't stand them. They're very chatty and extroverted, while he is quiet, introverted, and hates loud noises. 6. Are other people bringing their spouses? I asked the organizer and she confirmed that everyone is except one girl and 2 single guys. 7. Is my boyfriend invited? Of course, but he said hard pass because 3 days with these annoying people would be torture for him. He told me, "You're better than these loud idiots. You've matured. Why are you still hanging out with them?" 8. I texted him saying I wanted to talk, and he said, "If it's about the trip, there's nothing to talk about." I replied, "No, it's about us," and he never responded. He hasn't spoken to me since our argument. 9. Does my boyfriend have some infidelity trauma? I have no idea. He had a long-term ex before me who is now happily married. They broke up because she met someone else. I'm not sure if it was an affair or if she simply ended things with him to be with the new guy. That's all I know. 10. Why am I low contact with my family? I'm low contact with my parents because my dad never stands up for me when my mom verbally abuses me. One example was at their anniversary dinner when my mom made a toast in front of everyone about how they were blessed to have a wonderful son, my brother, and then pushed their luck by having me. She said, "We should have stopped while we were ahead." When I confronted my dad, he dismissed it as a joke. Later, my mom doubled down saying, "The truth hurts. You've been an underachieving disappointment your whole life." No other updates. I'll talk to him later today. At this point, I'm more hurt that he assumed I would cheat. It's not even about the trip anymore. Well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and we've learned quite a lot. The boyfriend is an idiot, the mom absolutely sucks, and her dad has no spine. Low contact suddenly seems like a lot. Anyways, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Richard and I talked last night. He broke up with me. I told him I was hurt that he assumed I'd cheat on him. He said he was disappointed that I didn't respect his boundary, that wasn't a boundary, and chose the trip instead. Then he hit me with, "I thought you were a mature, smart woman, but you are still a silly, immature little girl." Oh, and apparently I'm not wife material. He also said he wanted me out of his place as soon as possible and even threw in a snarky comment. "Technically, your name isn't on the deed. You're just a house guest. I could kick you out right now." I was like, wow, after 5 years, you're really kicking me out in a snowstorm? We had over 30 centimeters of snow yesterday. Luckily, my grandma is letting me stay with her until I find a new place. And when my mom finds out, oh, she's going to love this. More material to make fun of me. And yeah, no trip for me. I have packing and apartment hunting to do instead. Well, Opie, I think this is kind of like a blessing in disguise. You got rid of one idiot, now you just need to go absolutely no contact with your sucky mom and your spineless dad. Good thing it sounds like your grandma has your back. So in the meantime, Opie, here's wishing you the best in the future. Take care and thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.